Flexcast, and we're back, man. We're here with our first guest. I'm excited that she's here. She came to talk about a very important topic. We've been seeing a lot of violence lately in the world, a lot of shootings, regardless of where they're happening. A teacher came out recently and said that, parents should start taking out life insurance policies on their children. And that ruffled a lot of feathers because people never thought about, I guess people never connected like life insurance for when your kid is at school, you know? Mm-hmm. And so I hollered at Faith, and I was like, man, I really want an expert to come on my podcast and talk about this. So she came to talk about it. She works in the life insurance space. I'm going to let her introduce herself and tell y'all what she does, and then we'll get right into it. Go ahead.
Hey, y'all. How you doing?
Hi.
Y'all look beautiful today.
You too.
Let me just start off by saying that this is a really sad time in our communities that we even have to have this conversation. But that's why we're here. Yeah. So my name is Faith Tapia. I was born and raised in Austin, Texas.
Hey.
Grew up in the east side of Austin.
Hello.
Okay. Yep. I got involved with Primerica when I was 22. At that point in time, I had a bunch of different jobs and I had a young daughter. So I was broke and I needed help because nobody ever taught me about money or personal finance, budgeting, the importance of life insurance,
right?
Or how to save for the future. So that's how I got involved.
Okay, awesome. Now, when we're looking at, I guess, what's happening right now, like how does this change life insurance? Like when people start running the life insurance out of panic, like out of complete panic, does that change anything, or is it just like business as usual, or is it like insurance where like the more people that buy it, the cheaper it gets? Like, what does this current time mean for life insurance?
It's really, you don't think about it until you think about it,
right?
Type of thing. Like it's best to get it when you're younger. It's cheaper. You get a higher face value, coverage for the policy and stuff like that. You can cover your kids, like everything like that. But it's business as usual. Okay. We're out here spreading the word about, hey, you should start thinking about these things when it comes to like financial planning and things like that. So we definitely stress the importance of life insurance, but you're not going to know what you don't know until you know it. So
correct. Yeah. Interesting. My parents have had life insurance on me. I have two sisters, my entire life. So it's interesting to me when I meet other people who know nothing about life insurance, or it's like not a priority to them. Yeah. But I can only imagine with the different socioeconomic statuses, everyone prioritizes things differently. What have you found to be common misconceptions about life insurance?
That all life insurance is created equal. Like there's two different types of insurance out there in the industry. Okay. One is cash value, also known as whole life, universal life, IULs, things like that. It's basically insurance with a savings component in it.
Okay.
Term life insurance is just pure coverage.
Okay.
The only thing it does is replace your income if something were to happen to you. That's it. Okay. And that's really what life insurance is supposed to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. Well, speaking of income, most people get their life insurance through their employer, and being that I am self-employed,
right?
How would somebody? Oh, even though I got mine already, how would somebody that is
we can still have a conversation?
Yes. How would somebody that is self-employed would go about getting life insurance?
You can actually contact your local Primerica agent, or you can give me a call. We can definitely run some quotes. There are different organizations that offer term life, but Primerica has like the top tier term life insurance policies out there. Like they are awesome. And do your research. Don't just take my word for it. Like we have some of the best products out there. Okay.
Now, when you say that, like, do your research, right? I'm sure people run across a lot of different information, a lot of different companies. What are some scams that you've seen with life insurance, or maybe like some things to avoid when it comes to life insurance that could potentially like trap people or anything like that?
Yeah. So there are different life insurance policies that definitely you need to know about. Let me see.
Because like one of the things that I was thinking about before Faith was coming in here is like one of the things that makes people hesitant for life insurance is the fact that there are so many scams and like there are so many unsure things that go on with life insurance. You know, Faith had a very good stat before we came in, and she said most people work their jobs, you know, what was it, like 5 years, something like that?
Yeah.
You know, on average, people leave their jobs after 5 years.
5 to 6 years, and then they get bored and do something else.
So what happens, you know, what happens to all that stuff that we've paid into whenever we're, you know, whenever we've done something like that?
Let's see.
I always figured it goes away.
That's what I thought too, but from what she explained to me, like you still have a time period after. Like I'm so lost on this because I'm like one of the people that she mentioned. I'm young, running around. I wasn't really thinking about like what happens to me if something happens to me. You know, they're gonna come take it all. You know, that's kind of what I thought would happen. But I'm glad that she's here and educating us and our listeners because this is important.
Yeah. So life insurance, some of the common misconceptions, life insurance I have through my job is enough, right? Most people don't know how much they actually need, and I'm here to explain that. I have something called the DIME. We go over different numbers to think about when actually getting your life insurance coverage that you actually need together.
Okay.
But let's go back to the job. Some people stay at their jobs 5 to 6 years. The group insurance is usually no more than 2 times at no additional cost to the employee, 4 times if they pay extra for the additional coverage. It's based on the average age of all the employees at the job.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
Right. So as long as you're covered as long as you're actively employed, which means you're not on medical leave or sick. So that's something to think about when looking at the life insurance policies at the job.
Okay.
Once you leave, you have a set time frame, like 15 to 30 days to convert the group policy into a private policy.
Okay. Okay.
So if you didn't do that,
then you're probably
and then it's
probably,
done.
yeah,
Like
it's floated away.
Like that's it.
That's not information that they're sharing with anybody. So
Oh, they don't want you to know that.
No,
They don't-
not at
They
all.
don't want you to know that. Yeah,
No,
no,
they don't
absolutely
want
not.
you to
They would
keep
love for their
anything.
group policy to be as fat as possible. Like, yeah.
And even if you do decide, like within the 15 to 30 days, to actually convert it into a private policy, the premiums may increase based on your individual age and health at the time. If there's a deficit, like let's say you do have insurance through your job and you want to keep it, right? We figure out how much you actually need, how much your coverage through the job covers. If there's a deficit, we help you cover that with a private insurance policy.
Okay.
So that way you're completely covered for anything and everything that you might need it for.
Oh, that's
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I have a question about Primerica because we have some business owners who listen to the podcast.
Yeah, hey guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Does Primerica also provide like to business owners? Can they provide group policies?
Heck
to,
yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, then, that's great. Yeah, that's great to hear. I had another question for you.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So, like we were talking earlier,
Awesome.
how does the life insurance work for a sick parent? How soon is it dependent on the sickness? Like, if it's terminal, like what does it depend on?
Like you want to get a sick parent's life insurance?
So like my mother had breast cancer,
Right.
And when she found out she had breast cancer, then immediately she thought, I need a life insurance policy for my children.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, we're not able to give her one. So,
Right.
what would be your advice to those group of people? And then, is it only like when it's a terminal sickness or illness? Is it they won't give you life insurance for that, or what is it? What does it depend on?
So life insurance, when you initially apply, it's like your overall health. Like if you have any underlying conditions, like that all goes into the underwriting policy, which you do have to do an application for. And then you have to apply, and it also goes by height, weight, do you smoke, not smoker. There's a whole application process that we have to go through. The cancer is usually like that's a no-go.
across the board, from what I've heard.
Most of the time.
from what I've heard.
So it's better to think about life insurance when you're in good health and when you're younger, because you're more likely to qualify for the actual insurance itself. And then later on down the line, if anything does happen, you have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I just wanted you to say that because people
Man.
listening, they need to know.
And they be
They
thinking
don't-
you will make the mistake of thinking like, oh, I'm young, like I don't really.
I got
But that's
time.
like like the
Right.
actual time to right.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
you're in good health.
You pay a lower premium for a higher face value, like a higher amount or more coverage of the policy, and you have less health risk when you're younger.
Right.
So it just is more beneficial for you to think about it now when you're young and to get it and to just keep a hold of it. And then as you get older, if anything would happen, you still have it and you don't have to do like the medical questions and things like that.
Right.
because-
The whole like survey.
Stuff that
the
can
whole
knock you
breakdown.
off
Yeah,
of the
exactly.
insurance policy.
Right.
So yeah,
Okay.
And life insurance is completely different than having like long or short term disability, right?
completely different.
That's
Do you
what
want to
I thought.
explain the differences, just like surface? I know this stuff can get rabbit hole.
Yes.
Yeah, I know this stuff can
I'm
go
like-
rabbit hole real quick. But do you want to explain like the surface differences? Because I think a lot of people think they're the same.
Agreed.
So what you mentioned, short-term disability is different. I don't do none of that stuff. So it's not pure coverage. So life insurance is supposed to replace your income if anything were to happen to you, to make sure that your family's taken care of in your absence.
Correct.
Right? Short-term disability, I think you have to, this is like off the top of my head. I have no idea. This is not in my notes.
Absolutely.
You have to be either terminally ill or out of work for a certain period of time, right?
Correct.
And then they'll give you a supplemental check to help you with your medical bills, but it's not going to replace your income, right?
Right,
No,
not at all.
correct.
All right, cool. Go me.
Yeah.
Because I'm
good.
like off the dome. It ain't the same.
No, not at all.
As you were talking, I was thinking as well too.
Yes.
Does certain, if you pass a certain way, does that? My first thought is like when a family member like completes death via suicide. So does that automatically like disqualify their life insurance to pay out to their family? Just wondering if there's certain specific ways you die.
Yes.
Speak about it. I think they need to hear about that too.
Okay.
And that actually goes into a question I had.
That
too.
was not something I even had
Yeah,
on
no,
here,
we
but for real, it's a
no, we
thing.
freestyling at this
is
point,
the thing.
man.
Okay,
We freestyling at this point.
I had a whole thing. I was nervous, not anymore. Okay.
No.
For our specific term life policy, you cannot try to commit suicide within like 7.5 years of owning the policy, right?
Correct.
After that, girl,
Yes.
like what you gotta do.
Yes.
I hope you don't. But
What about for like accidental deaths? Like in our community, police brutality killings are a big thing, and I know that that's like something that potentially can cause payouts. How does is that pretty cut and dry, or how do policies handle stuff like that?
our policy specifically, if you die, we will pay.
Okay, gotcha.
I like that.
Our policies are kind of like if you get life insurance with a coupon.
Okay.
Like if you think like that's how I used
Okay.
to think about it. So like let's say I wrote you a coupon for a 35-year from this date to this date, we'll cover you and you get a discounted rate. People like discount coupon, but
Right.
it's a lower rate for a higher face amount. And you, as long as you're paying the premiums, will cover you for set amount.
Correct.
Right? That's how I like to think of term insurance, even though it's one of the best products for the majority of Americans out there.
Okay, got
Yeah.
you. And speaking of like how Americans can get products, I want you to let people know because you mentioned that Primerica does free quotes.
Yep.
So I want you to go ahead and let people, let people know, like, if people who are interested, let them know how they can contact you, your socials, or like a website or something like that. Because I have a feeling we're going to get a lot of hits about this.
Correct.
So,
Yes.
Yeah, let us know how they can get a hold of you at Primerica.
Okay, Instagram.
Hey, and
favorite app.
we're gonna put your little handle right below you when you say it. So go ahead and let them know where you are on Instagram.
I'm like, oh, let's see. It's ftapia824 at Instagram. Then it's faith.tapia at primerica.com. That's primerica.com.
There we go. And if y'all have any questions about life insurance or how to, you want to get a quote or anything like that, Faith and Primerica are here for you guys. It's a very important topic. It's a very, very unsure time. We're kind of out of a pandemic, but we're still dealing with like day-to-day stuff that's deathly. And so I appreciate you being here, Faith.
It was my
You
pleasure.
should start to get a lot. Yeah, you should get a lot of hits from this. Our following is growing. Our audience is growing, and we'll send people your way. And
Absolutely.
we were so happy to have you, Faith. I appreciate you showing up.
Yes.
You're welcome, guys. Thanks.
Well, Flexcast, we're going to get ready for our next guest. We're going to take a quick break to get them set up, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Yeah. Flexcast, we are back with our next taste test.